getting windy out here. It's starting to cloud over. It's starting to feel like winter is coming back after well, let's say Monday was about 67 degrees, I believe. And the day after, a little cooler. Next day, colder and wet. Today, just cold, got warm, getting cold again. But I digress. Look at what we got here. We have our duster. There's a video in the making. I just got to get a couple other things done before I'm happy doing an edit and doing a post for everybody. Hopefully we're not losing any momentum with all of our audience over this car, especially over December, the lulls we had then. But I'm trying to make up for it, at least in a quality manner. I just don't want to post stuff that's, stupid. There's a couple things that could be debatable. But we got some stuff going on with this car. Obviously, it's down off of the stands. And we got Jeff, always loyal to the channel. Appreciate you, buddy. He's here. And we got some stuff kind of kicking around here. You'll notice, although it's simply temporary, we have our brand new Dr. Diff axles just sitting in there just to keep them clean. The bearings are pressed on. The plates are in place. I just need to get the brake situation ironed out. And since many of you all are loyal and you're always jumping in on the lives, I'll just detail it here, and obviously we'll cover it in the mainstream video. But I have these plates here, and one of you guys schooled me. I'll have to get your name out on the video. But these plates here are for a C-body, mid-60s, maybe even late 60s C-body, and they only accept the 2-inch wide shoes. And a lot of that, you're thinking, well, what's the difference between these plates and maybe the wider brake? It's really just the depth. It's almost like wheels and back spacing. And I've been kind of on a crash course of this stuff learning, and you can't really find the shoes for these. And then add on top of that, you might be able to find the drums. You might not, but if you do, everything's just much more expensive, and it's not a good thing to have. Let's say you get out on the road somewhere and you need to make an emergency repair, and you can find some parts at maybe an O'Reilly's or a Napa, and you're just not going to find that rare stuff. I mean, obviously, these cars are old, and they have rare items on them that might need replaced, but we try to keep it general maintenance to a commonality. So what I really want to do is probably go away from an 11 and go to a 10 by 2.5 inch. And let me show you something here, just maybe just an oddball situation even still. I jacked up the back of our 71 Satellite just to see what we have, because we have an 8 1/4 rear on this thing. And I jacked it up, took the wheel off, and did some measuring and just kind of doing some super sleuth work, and it has the 10-inch brakes, but then they have the 2.5-inch shoes on them, so they are the 10 by 2.5. That's ideal. Okay. What I have here, and you can ask Ryan Barsness, he's the one that originally had this car before the Jim Bennett trade and all that, but this 8 3/4 came with it, so I looked it up. I pulled, actually it didn't even have a drum on it, but this is a 10-inch brake, but it's a 2-inch shoe as well. And it seems like anytime you run into a 2-inch shoe, you have rarity, you have scarcity. And you could say, well, what if you put a 2.5 inch on it? Well, that doesn't necessarily work, because see the pin here that holds all your springs and all that stuff. There's a certain distance between this, or wherever you want to start, to the face of that. This is like, I don't know, 1 3/4, and the one on this car, the 2.5-inch brakes, takes like a 2-inch distance. So it's spaced, and then obviously the part here is back spaced in a way to accept it so that it works correctly. Okay, so I was thinking, well, I could take these off, clean them up, use them on the duster, and be good. Then that way, when we swap this rear end into the Satellite, we would just use the brakes that are on it. But we're kind of stuck because these seem to be hard to find anything for too. I'm talking Rock Auto or anything. I don't know if they use these only on like 6-cylinder cars, and there's no market for them, but they don't really exist. So we need to find some 10 by 2.5 inch brakes, which are a more common part, but I just don't happen to have any of that in my thread or in my hoard of stuff. I was gonna say my thread of stuff. That doesn't make any sense. So you could either take them off this car and then make up for it later. I don't really want to do that. I'd like those brakes came on that car, and when we upgrade the rear, they just swap over. So we just need to get maybe with Kyle or somebody and see if he has some 10 by 2.5. But until then, you can't really do the axles because the axles shouldn't go in and can't go in until you have the plates on there. Okay. But I did go ahead and we have our 742 open chunk on there, our third member. This is actually the one that came on this rear. It was a C-body. And it's got a 276. So we're going to run that for a while, get the car up and going. And then I have a 741, which is what was in one of these cars right here. We'll get a sure grip for it. And I also have some 323 gears. We'll probably go that way with it. So that's kind of on the table there. We do have the brake tee on there, so I can, when I get the plates on there, I can run brake lines, at least on the housing. Up here, I went ahead and we got the axles, their bearings pressed on thanks to Derek, who, like he said, lives just in a corner from me, so I appreciate him letting me use his press. That's something we need to get in here because we are going to need it more often. And when it comes to that other car over there in the garage, it'll come in handy. But in the meantime, thank him for allowing us to use it. And so we got our upper control arm bushings. We pressed them in. Real quick job. He had like a 20-ton press, so that worked great. I went ahead and screwed the ball joint in. I think this is all Moog. I know Moog is kind of up in the air right now on quality, but that's what we have here. I try to go with the premium stuff they have. We'll see if that, hopefully it lasts for more than 5 years, which some of this newer rubber is not doing so well. But we got that one in, and just today I went ahead and stuck the other side in. Had to do a little massaging of the control arm to get it in. And a little bit of this over here, but it went in good once you got a grab on it. So there's that. Here's our spindle. It's got the caliper bracket on it. Here's our shield that'll eventually go up there. Our center link, our tie rod. We just need to get tie rod ends. Here's our dust shield, needs painted, and pretty much vice versa over there. We have a strut rod, which I need to get the other one cleaned up. It'll go over here for going into here to the control arm. So that's kind of what we got there. And yeah, that's kind of, it's all this underneath stuff. Let's just put it that way. As the sun decides to come back out again. You know, we get really nice sunsets out here, particularly in the summer, but even here now, it's pretty nice. So, everybody's fairly quiet today. That's all right. I'm just giving you a quick update. Some people like to check in, lurk, and see what's going on. So there's that. Other things that are going on. This has kind of been put on hold. It's the heater box. Really the only thing that's holding it off, I need to test the fan motor. I think it's froze though. And we need to either test this or just get another heater core. And so that's what we got there. But that don't really need to go in just yet. I do have all that stuff there. You've seen some of that. And I don't know. What do y'all think? Yeah, a lot of underneath things. We'll have to put together some brake lines. I don't mind all that. That stuff's pretty simple. I mean, a lot of people stress over the brake lines. I say I have the old ones, which do need replaced, but I like to keep them to use them as a template. And I mean, that's all you need. Take you a couple hours, get them together. Make sure you put the ends on before you flare it. You're good to go. Same with the fuel line. I think the fuel line I can't remember the fuel line situation on this car. You know, this has mostly been apart for the past 3, going on 4 years now. And we're really kind of starting to move along with it again. So, And there you go. I have nothing else to say. So we're going to drop off here. Appreciate y'all watching. And that'll do it for now. We'll keep you updated.